All right. So here we are. Here we are. I'm doing the ones and twos, doing the production work. I apologize in advance. 10 times the apology. I'm going to fuck some shit up. I can guarantee you that. As you'll see the background here. This is a background that I just went and took from the internet because I forgot to grab a background initially and build it in here. So we got a black brick wall as our background for today. But hey, before we jump into the show proper, I do want to an unfortunate bummer of an announcement. I get it. This fucking sucks. But hey, uh so going forward, and it's not like a huge game changer or anything, but going forward, Loon and I, we're still going to be collaborating. We're still going to be making content together, but not so much on a weekly basis with this show every Friday. Like this show will still exist. I'll still continue to do it solo every week, long form ish podcast at the end of the week for you. But we are Loon is about to launch his own channel. He needs to focus his energy, attention, effort in that. It's a big fucking undertaking. He's creating like video essays or something of that sort, and that's very time consuming. And and it's also we're still gonna do like the monthly rankings. We're still gonna get together, collaborate on different ideas, but Loon hit me up, and yeah, I'll kind of let you take it away from this point. I think that's kind of the bare bones, kind of basic information to get out to the people, but I'll kind of let you take it away about how this whole conversation initiated and why we got to where we got to today. Obviously, still on great terms. I'll still be helping Loon on his channel a ton. He'll be helping me on mine. I suck
He
at all
gave
this
me the
shit.
key back to the lock that's kept my feet shackled, guys. No. Um, no, it was obviously we had a rough kind of period kind of thing up in the air, and what became pretty apparent is obviously you want to make this work more than anything. It's I think it's your probably biggest dream. I won't put words in your mouth,
Definitely.
but it's definitely up there. And as somebody I was there from the start and stuff like that, even as a viewer before even having the opportunity to come on here. So I want you to obviously succeed more than anything. And yeah, when we kind of was pairing up, it did seem like we hit a very slow spell kind of thing. And I think that with to get the growth up is going to have to be like a solo effort, is what I was envisioning it as when I was looking through it and I was scrolling through it. Because I hit you up on, was it the weekend?
Yeah.
So it's like Sunday or something. Because I was just scrolling through and it's just like, man, it does kind of suck that you're going to be putting out these videos. They're getting like 600, sometimes breaking 1,000. And like obviously love making the Friday videos and stuff like that. It's really fun, but like having them drop down to like 30% of like the thousand, for instance, like 300 views and stuff, and just being very honest with myself and that because it wasn't anything. You didn't pressurize any of this. It was just something like being like, gotta be honest with myself here, and just hit you up and I was like, I don't think like if you want this to genuinely take off, it's probably gonna have to be a solo thing. And I'm happy to like step aside and stuff like that. Um, so nobody sending any hate Brandon's way. It wasn't pressurized in that way. It's just more being honest with myself and being like, it would be very selfish of me to be like, I like doing this, so I'm gonna stick my head in the sand, be completely oblivious to everything and just wait until everything comes crashing and burning down. I think it'd be better, as you said, to split up the the identity almost because, like you said, it weighs on you even with like the Patreon and stuff. We was talking about it behind the scenes of you value transparency in if somebody's giving money to the channel and stuff like that, you want it to know that exactly where it's going as the person. So if there was anybody hypothetically donating it from the Friday video and be like, oh, yeah, I want this to happen more because it's going to be divvied up 50-50. There's so little money in it. It was a thing again of me saying like I don't want a cut because it's like it's almost I'm not saying we would, and that's not the personalities we have, but it would be as if fighting over scraps, and it just I don't see the value in that.
Yeah,
I'm there for the fun, and like you said before we kick the video, we'll still do collaborations because then that'll take it back to the fun,
just the fun.
the fun
Exactly.
days of not having a strict schedule and just hitting up with like cool little ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'll be real, like I know that I've been a lot to deal with. Just my mental state is not the greatest as of late. I'll be completely honest about that. I think that's obvious by the I mean, the thing that really fucking hurt the channel the most was the switch from unnecessary rambling to game and ramble. That's when the viewership completely fucking plummeted. Boneheaded decision. Like, so I don't want you to like be like, oh, it's on me, dude. The things that really hurt the channel were all my doing. The thumbnail change ups, the name change up, like that's all my doing. And you unfortunately you got caught in the mix of all of my indecisive bullshit, and it hurt everything. It's all my doing. So I don't want you to feel like, even I'm not bummed out by the viewership for uh this show, for the Ramble Report. Like, I think it's fine. It's not great all the time, and sometimes it is great. Just like all the solo shit. Sometimes it's awful, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's in the middle. Like, I'm not really bummed out by that. The thing I'm bummed out by the most is, like, like you said, I just value transparency so very, very much, and I just don't want you committing week in, week out to this show, and like you said, it's just I don't want to do a business kind of endeavor. I want to just have fun, shoot the shit, rank games, collaborate about like fun things where we're excited to come in here, because whenever it became more like business, not more business oriented, but whenever that became like a thing we had to discuss, like we would have to. I never hit you up before ever and was like, oh, I'm bummed out about this, or we got to fix something about that. Like, I would just fix it. I would just go in and do it and handle it. And like, you know, now it's like, or I felt that since we were trying to kind of grow something as like a two-man team, I had to be, I had to hit you up about every little fucking update. And unfortunately, a lot of the updates are like, when I'm wanting to fix something, change something, rearrange something, all this dumb, indecisive bullshit that, like, if I'm just dealing with it on my own, it doesn't weigh heavily on me, But whenever I'm like, hey man, what do you think about changing this format for that? The views on this weren't so great. Maybe we should try to do it this way. And it's like, I, I just want to hit up Loon and be like, dude, you want to do a 5-hour auction about games? Like, I just want to hit you up and just have fun, and I guess once again, short-sighted bullshit on my end. And dude, audience, you can throw your stones my way, throw your tomatoes. Like, it's a lot of fucking poor decision making on my end, a lot of not thinking things through clearly long term, and just, yeah, bad decision making. And I'm just kind of tired of having any of these discussions at all, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I don't really ever want to come on here again one time, like ever again on the channel, and discuss viewership, discuss pivots, discuss, like, of course there are going to be things like shakeups are going to be made. Like, everybody's going to have to pivot. That's obvious. But the over explaining and just I don't know. This is so not the human being that I am. Like, I keep shit in, bury it in, deal with it myself, handle shit, take care of it, not have to fucking put that out into the world. And like, it feels like bitch shit, if I'm being completely real. Like, it just, it, to me, it does. It's like, I don't need to fucking air out all my worries and like concerns, this, that, and the other. And when I'm hitting you up with that shit, it's like, this feels like straight up bitch shit. This feels like I'm needing to vent to somebody. Like, fucking deal with it, handle it, take care of it. I know this is sounding like the most American ass fucking, fucking American flag on my back and riding a bald eagle into war, but I don't know. It's just, yeah. Anywho, I don't think any of that made any coherent sense, but
No, it didn't. I think the main takeaway is obviously deshackling from schedule.
mhm.
So not every Friday, for me at least. Yeah, as you said, you're still going to be obviously doing daily stuff, I'd imagine. nothing's changing on that front.
No.
Um, we'll still hop in and do miscellaneous videos, like you said, drafts and stuff like that. I don't think we spoke about this behind, so this will be a new. I'd happily jump on showcase live streams as well. Still, I don't mind doing that. That's fine.
Totally. Now I can handle the fucking production, so you're not going to be shackled with all that horse shit. Um, so like, yeah, absolutely, dude. I still definitely want to collaborate on a bunch of shit. I don't want that to change. Uh, I don't want anyone to think like there's some falling out or Loon hit me up with a thought, and then I started thinking about it more, and while I didn't necessarily agree at the time.
We could have used this. This could have been the big YouTube drama of 2025. That's what we could have done. That could have been our ticket up.
No.
Man, there we go.
I mean, dude, yeah, and it's, when you hit me up, I didn't necessarily agree with you, but the more I started thinking about it, and the more that I started thinking about how much, because the thing that weighs on me the most, and I swear to God, cutting this shit off right here, not, no need to open, re-litigate this shit, but the thing that weighs on me so much is just the Patreon, YouTube membership side of things, where it's like, I don't want you committing every single week, because whenever you told me, it was like, dude, there's not a lot of money here. Just, don't worry about fucking cutting me in on the percentage until we get to a point where that actually makes any sense. When you hit me up and said that, like, I appreciated that, but at the same time, I was like, I do not feel good about this at all. Like, I hate this. I would much, much, much rather, um, like, if it's going to be a situation like that, I don't want you trucking into work every Friday, sitting down, ready to go for 3 hours and like getting nothing out of it. It's like, I would rather just deal with all of that, fucking 5 days a week, trying to get something out on YouTube, or 7 days a week typically, but trying to get something out and deal with the frustration, deal with the pressure, deal with all that, opposed to you having to kind of commit your schedule to it week in and week out. And like, for what incentive? I would much rather you focus that effort on your channel, growing that. And yeah, I don't want to sit here and make it sound like fucking volcanoes are erupting and there's some big you know fucking calamity heading everything's fine. We're still going to collab, we're still going to make videos together, we're still going to have fun, shoot the shit about games. But yeah,
Yeah, that does feel weird in that sense. Because usually when people do announce, there is usually some like background spat
right.
that that did. But yeah, like there's nothing that interesting. We're very boring people.
Yeah, no, it's no drama at all. Like, we don't. I
It was all the shade you were throwing at Expedition 33. There you go. That's what we can use it as.
Oh
Bad mouthing
man,
the game of the year. How dare you?
the bad mouthing the fucking weirdos, the fan base, some of the fan base, most of them. 99.9% of everybody's cool for all the fandoms. It's the 0.1% of weirdos that stand out. But um, yeah. So there, like you said, there was no drama. There was no, you know, obviously, whenever you brought it up, I was like frustrated a little bit. I was like, fuck. I didn't necessarily agree, and I still don't necessarily agree with like the main premise. I don't want you to feel like you're weighing anything down. I don't think that is the case at all. I think that it's just you know, it's more so like a mental weight that is the back end side of the business thing is more so like, but it's not the numbers. I don't really give a fuck, honestly, about like that was the whole thing where I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to start putting the foot on the gas and making more shit. And obviously Loon and I can't collaborate every single day and upload every single day together because our fucking time zone difference, we're 6 hours time difference. So like there's just going to be a massive barrier there for us to be able to like really both put our foot down and have the same exact schedule ready to go every single day. Like, we can't. That's impossible. And so, you know, it, I don't even remember what the fuck I was saying. I had totally completely Like I
There
had
you
something
go.
there.
The identity of the channel
Yeah.
seeping through.
Yeah. My brain is. But yeah, I do think, the more I started thinking about it, while I didn't necessarily agree with the reasoning, and I don't want you to feel like that you're weighing anything down, I do agree with the overall sentiment of like, let's, focus more on just having fun, focus more on just enjoying this. And obviously, I've said it a million times, if it ever gets to a point where we're making hundreds of thousands of dollars on the channel, Luna's getting hired. That's number one, fucking without a doubt. Luna's the first hire, probably the last hire. Like there's no there's no I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously the dream would be to fucking hire a bunch of people, and if we're making real money, like, then fuck yeah, dude. That's always what I've always wanted to do, is collaborate with a bunch of people. And but at the same time, I'm aware of like you said, you're fighting over scraps at some point, and not that we ever were, not that we were ever going to be in that point. That would never fucking happen. But I do get the overall sentiment of like, just getting back to the fun, enjoying this shit. And how about we begin enjoying this shit now? But any final words on your end, Loon, before I send you to.
Um, no, like obviously, I just appreciate everybody giving me the support of being here, and that was from like day one. It was so there was such a big worry for me when because you'd done obviously collaborations and stuff like that in the past, but like people's being so open to having two people because that's so dangerous in this day and age because we don't. That's what makes the community so great is that they are genuinely open for opinions. They don't. There's no like closed mindedness really, which is what made it so nice to just walk in and just be, you know, just it was smooth sailing. Whereas for many other people, like if it was very close, it'd be so difficult because it would be division
Mm,
in like comment sections and stuff like that of like aligning with. But yeah, it's never been like that. So
yeah.
just appreciate everybody. Yeah, just giving me that chance and stuff like that. And obviously, like I said, still be around. Just less of me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
Give me more time to play through JRPGs. There you go.
and yeah, like, definitely want to shout out the community for, I've been doing this shit for 5 years. I've never had like any of these periods of mental, some sort of mental break, mental. I don't know what you really want to call it. I wouldn't say like a full blown episode, but definitely as close as I've been to that, at least publicly, ever in my life. And to be as supportive and understanding of that. And we've definitely built a fucking dope ass community here. And obviously, when Loon launches his shit, I will be sending the tens of
The
people.
troops.
I'll be
Yeah, baby.
sending everybody in droves with community posts, and obviously every time we collab. And then I'll still have Loon's channel in the description, because now that I'm uploading from a computer, I'm not dealing with the fucking dumbass iPhone shit. Where in the iPhone you have to go out and rebuild the description every single time. There's no like preset templates. But now with the computer, there
I'm
are
gonna have to hit you up about that because I don't have preset templates.
really on your channel.
I have to copy. Yeah, I have to copy paste shit.
Yeah, I'll let you. Do you have YouTube Studio on your computer?
Yeah,
So, well, this is off stream shit.
yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Just sitting there for 15 minutes.
um,
Hmm.
but yeah, no,
But
I'll
yeah,
set you up.
um, obviously the other massive announcement is obviously you got the laptop. You're on OBS. You figured that shit out.
Watch
We're,
this,
we're
guys.
here. We're working.
Let's hold on one second. I'll run some shit by y'all in real time. Let's go to Xbox's official YouTube channel, and let's look at this damn ROG ally here. So I'll swap here to the OBS, open this damn window, and nothing happened. Hold on. We got this. We got this. There we are. So now y'all see the Xbox ROG Ally. It should be popping up on your screen. You should be seeing it. And then on the fly, some production here. I'm going to exit out of this video and it's back to us. Look at that shit. This is a miracle that somehow it is kind of the funny thing, Loon, where I built up all of these barriers in my head, all of these worries about PC gaming and PC architecture and tinkering with all this bullshit, and I was so worried that I was never going to be able to understand it. And then I get good Wi-Fi and I get a good laptop, and it's like, oh, right. I just
Yep.
This is kind of all I need.
This isn't 2002 anymore, where you genuinely need. It's so much streamlined. Don't get me wrong. While we're on this topic, it's definitely not like an end all be all of like everything from top to bottom. It definitely has its own issues and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
like that. Um, but yeah, things are so simple, especially when you pair it, like you said, with the internet and the hardware. Because like before we did all this, the big change in January and stuff with my laptop, I was on that crappy ass laptop. I couldn't have done anything on that. Doesn't matter how fast my internet is. That laptop was like 6, 7 years old. It was it was not it. So yeah, definitely gonna be awesome to see what you can pull off with it.
Yeah, and I'm probably still gonna be doing a lot of editing and shit. Like, not a lot of editing. I don't ever edit a lot, but still gonna be, trying to go in there and grab trailers. And I just the mobile aspect of it. I know that's people are like, what the fuck? Why do you do everything on your phone? You fucking weirdo. But I do just like, I have 10 minutes. I'm sitting here waiting on something in the car. Boom, start editing some shit. Like that's something that I'm gonna have a tough time doing away with. But no doubt, this just ability to you record, you throw the video on, the instantaneous nature of it, no back end shit. You publish that motherfucker, and it's like done after that. It is a dream, man. It is a fucking dream. And dude, I'm still like, I'm too scared to emulate anything. I, I know that sounds so crazy, but like I'm so worried that I'm gonna get some virus or some shit on this laptop that like
Um, to be fair, I haven't done any emulation either in since I got it. To be honest, have you gone and looked through like the storefronts? Because there's a ton
Xbox.
of shit on like GOG that you wouldn't even need to emulate. It's already on there and stuff like that. Um, there's obviously more stuff that is missing, stuff that's PS3 maybe
Yeah.
locked and stuff like that, PSP. But yeah, they have like dedicated forums of like genuine people that are willing to help. You just have to message them; they will happily break it down, and it's their whole job to. It's like a reputation, isn't it? They're not going to send you viruses and stuff. That's their corner of the internet that they've cultivated themselves. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like I got the PC Game Pass subscription for $11 or whatever, just so cheap. And so I'll still be playing my Xbox games through that. Whenever if they have anything exclusive that drops, I'll be doing that. And so that's kind of the game plan. And then, like you said, I want to go in. GOG is really the one that, for me, that I'm the most curious about. I don't really care to, like, I'm sure I'll download Steam at some point, maybe, but, like, I'm probably just going to go with GOG for most of everything. Um, you know, seems like they have their preservation efforts are a bit more extreme, and the retro games, that's one of the big appeals for this whole laptop situation, is just being able to play old games. And at some point
Mhm.
I'll be like, all right, let's get into this shit and let's actually dive into the retro catalog and emulate some stuff. But the last thing I want to do is fuck this laptop up. Like, that I will do everything in my power to make sure that this laptop never, ever, ever runs into a single small, minute issue, virus problem, anything.
Yeah. I don't. It won't.
Okay.
To be fair, with that, the worst thing that will happen is probably it just won't boot the game. Is again, it's that type of thing where you're building up a lot more. It's just you should be fine. It's especially with how new that hardware is. It's got legs on it. It's not like that's running Windows 7, right? It's on the newest
Yeah.
Windows, I assume. So you've got plenty of, you've probably got 8 years at least of that running perfectly fine.
I Yeah, I hope so, man. I definitely that's I just don't know anything about this space, so I'm learning as time goes on. But shit, dude, I guess are you ready to go ahead and hop into the old Patreon discussions, the YouTube membership questions that we have for the week?
Absolutely. It does feel very weird sitting here in just a Zoom call to me
Oh yeah,
after
yeah,
being in OBS for so long and being like, what is this place? This doesn't feel like
yeah.
home.
That is so
Where's my
fucking
audio
funny.
bars?
So Garrett Sharp over on Patreon writes in and says, "What is your most wanted physical release for games that don't have one? Mine is GoldenEye 007 remastered. The N64 version is damn near unplayable these days." So most
Uh,
wanted physical release that we do not currently have. Um, it's him saying 007 is I start thinking about kind of the like Activision. Microsoft owns Activision. Microsoft owns Rare. So you would think theoretically that they could get a lot of those 007 games, you know, like re-released because GoldenEye is Rare. I think they just re-released that recently. And then all of those 360 games, right? Like theoretically, Xbox could roll that out. And I know that the one I'm showing in the footage right now, 007 Everything or Nothing, that's EA, but I would love to see some sort of remaster of this game that releases physically. I know that that doesn't necessarily count, but when you talk about like was it Quantum of Solace and a lot of those Activision
mm,
games from the 360 era, like do a 007 bundle with GoldenEye and Quantum of Solace and those titles. That'd be sick.
yeah, it's just it's because many people were predicting about the whole Transformers thing, and people have been calling for like a 360 Transformers remastered collection, and it is like they own the studios that made them games and stuff like that. It's just whether or not whoever owns the IP is willing to play ball, and the licenses aren't extremely expensive to make. Because when you think about it, like how much, what was it, Insomniac had to be throwing like Sony's or Marvel's way, sorry, to get the Spider-Man games. When you compare that to the 360 Spider-Man games that were probably made for a lot less money and the
Yeah,
rights to that.
very
It's
true.
just what happens when gaming exploded in the way that it did popularity wise. Boy, did Hollywood come calling with big paychecks.
Yeah.
For for me, mm,
If you want to think a little bit more, I have another one just on the top of my
I have
dome.
shit. The thing is it's not that I don't have any like. It's the fact that like with Xbox obviously being the primary platform, there's so many titles that just skip
Right.
physical releases. So like even just like Final Fantasy 16, I never got physical. Love to
No
have that. The
shit.
Pixel remaster. And comes with a caveat again. I have been wrong for these things with maybe they got prints in the US. They
Right.
never got prints in the EU. I did see something though interesting related to that. Tails apparently never got printed uh for Xbox in the US.
Which one?
Uh, Grace's F
No, I got a copy of it.
for Xbox or for PlayStation.
Oh, right. Got you, got you, got you.
That's what I mean.
PlayStation.
Yeah,
Yep.
for Xbox, it doesn't get printed in the US. It's Bandai Namco Europe, whoever
Weird.
do that, and they did what the announcement of Zillia, and that's doesn't have a physical slated for Xbox, but they usually announce it for Europe very close to release. Just very bizarre. With again, just the Xbox's physical identity is just so mixed. But
Yeah.
what was the other one you had?
So a big one for me, I know that this is probably never going to happen, but I do find it interesting, like when you look at Capcom where they've been doing like the fighting collections, and they have this kind of remaster wing going on, and not like full blown remakes like they're doing for Resident Evil, but just these like remastered kind of port variants. I would love to see some kind of like Capcom survival horror collection where you get like Dino Crisis 1 and 2, you get, you know, fucking the Resident Evil classic games. Maybe you go with like a Haunting Ground or a Clock Tower 3 or whatever the case may be. But yeah, just I don't know why it seems like Capcom is a little bit resistant to. I don't know. I shouldn't say that they're resisting the temptation of going back, and I don't think that's it, but it does definitely seem that they're fine with porting and remastering or re-releasing these pretty much one-to-one versions with, you know, they have the net code and all that shit in the new releases of the fighting collection, but it doesn't seem like they're as open to like dropping a survival horror collection. Like they have plenty of damn games they could throw into probably multiple, like they're doing the Capcom Fighting Collection 1 and 2. They could do a survival horror collection 1 and 2. Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 1 and 2, Dino Crisis 1 and 2. And then like that there's fucking, you know what I mean? There's 4 games right there. And you could run that out 6 iterations.
And that's one of the things where I don't think they'd obviously run into licensing issues. I think that's probably a lot more realistic than people maybe expect. That does just feel like, because with Capcom as well having so much, you don't want to rush through that either. Like you have so much stuff underneath your belt, you can take your time. Say just do a Dino Crisis collection in like 2 years time, and then do a Resident Evil remaster collection 2 years from that. Like they have plenty of time. But yeah, I would love to see some of them classics brought forward.
You know, a game that I'm kind of surprised doesn't have a physical release is that Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon game. This would be a dope ass game once it's all like patched up and cleaned up, fixed and polished. I'd love for that to get like even a limited run physical release. I'd much rather it be a, you know, basic retail release, but I mean, this is a big budget game to not have a physical release. It's kind of surprising.
I think it's because they knew it's the type of thing of they knew it was a little bit rough as well as being a smaller base studio. It's the type of thing of where run with the digital sales so that you're recouping 100% of that. Whenever it's being sold, you're getting some kickback to keep the studio afloat and stuff like that. And it's gonna get updates and stuff like that. I could see that releasing a physical in like a year or two with like a fully patched version. It would be baffling if they put like a version 1.0 on the disc. I don't think you'd do that. That'd completely eliminate the point of like sitting on it. I could see them doing that, releasing it all patched up. I'd love to see I've said about this game many times, but Ring of Pain, like small games like that, Vagrus, getting like a physical on Xbox, just smaller indie titles. There's something like, obviously the 360 offered physical support for most things, but they also would pair with 360 arcade games and like bundle them in, like Trials and Limbo and stuff like that. Like I miss them days of the innocence of indie games and stuff like, because they don't, unless it's a smash hit, like big six, like Balatro or something like that. Like even like with Isaac, you have to go to Nicholas themselves to get a physical copy of it. Like that's not sold on storefronts and stuff like that. Like I'd love to see some of these smaller, you know, developers have physical representation.
Yeah, and you know, kind of staying on that front, I think about like that Echoes of the Endgame that just came out. Like I didn't buy that because of the lack of physical representation, and like once again, like you said, smaller developers, publishers, you get it, but it is just kind of wild to see a game that looks like this and that looks like Tainted Grail and they don't have physical releases. Like it I mean, it's just the sign of the times, right? Like these smaller publishers, they just don't, they're not going to factor that into their budget. Like it seems like one of the lower priority items, and I get that, right? Like if you look at the physical versus digital sales split percentage, you understand that to some degree, but it is just so crazy to see a game that looks this big budget skip the physical medium altogether. Um,
I mean, the thing that they also need to get, like, whether or not the percentage, like, divvying up is obviously a lot more skewed towards digital and stuff like that. We're not in, like, 2012, 2013, where you would have, I remember people complaining, you'd have, like, July drought,
right.
where there was no releases that were, like, of big announcements throughout July. You don't have that anymore. So if anybody can have an excuse to not buy your game, they will take it because there's 8 other games on the market that are drawing their interest. So by giving them any excuse, like you said, you was looking at it and you're like, there's no physical, I'm gonna skip it. They've lost out on a sale doing that.
So,
And it's yeah, it just needs to be balanced a little bit better. Something I saw as well, which kind of baffled me, is they announced that High on Life 2 physical. Was it PS5 only gets 2,000 copies? Did you see that?
really?
Unless they've changed it. Like I got the email for it through limited run, and it was like PS5 only is limited to 2,000, but there's no limit on Xbox on stuff like that. It's like, why are you like that? Does that not make sense the other way? Like 180, like limit the Xbox to 2,000 copies because it just doesn't sell very well. Like, yeah, it's just very strange.
That is wild. Yeah, it because I think High on Life 1 initially got a limited run only release, and then I think it got like a full retail release later on. And I don't know. I hate that, man. I fucking hate that shit. If it's going to be a limited run only title, then cool. If not, then I don't know. Just drop a full retail release. Hey, make the money that you can. I guess I shouldn't necessarily
Yeah.
be bickering. I understand it's
PS5 limited to 2,000 copies.
that is crazy, dude. Yeah. Um, Eternal Strands. You remember that from earlier in the year? The
Yeah, I believe you covered it. I
yeah,
never touched it.
it's on Game Pass. It's
Oh,
a
Rogue Trader as well. How the hell that didn't get, like, I know that they're synonymous for broken 1.0 releases, but like still baffling. They skipped that as it was their also biggest title.
yeah, and it's like once again, I don't want to beat the fucking same redundant point into the ground, but when I look at something like that, or when I look at something like Eternal Strands, I'm like, damn, man, there's some budget that went into this thing. It's just,
Mm.
it's shocking to not see these things on store shelves, and it's not all doom and gloom. I don't want to paint that picture of like the big budget games are still coming physically, like the AAA stuff. It's still releasing physically, but then you do get your Alan Wakes, and you do get your um, Baldur's Gate 3 and stuff like that kind of you have to wait for. But yeah, it's times are a changing, but hopefully not too much. I think people can kind of oversell the doom and gloomedness of the situation, but at the end of the day, there's kind of an undeniable reality that times are changing.
Mm.
So, Justin Parkhouse writes in and says, "Who or what are your most feared enemies in video games? Mine have to be the Deathclaw in Fallout. I remember doing an all-nighter playthrough of Fallout 3, and about 3 a.m. one of those bitches jumped out on me. I was so immersed, I jumped out of my skin. That is fucking hilarious. Most feared enemies, Loon.
Okay. I'm gonna use this time to stall, but I do have a Fallout one. But I wouldn't say feared enemy, it was just the scenario that happened. It was in New Vegas, in the area where the ghouls use the rocket. Come fly with me, I think is the side quest.
Mm.
You end up going down into like this facility area with the Nightkin, and they have stealth boys, so they're completely invisible. I had no recollection these things even existed, and it was again probably about 3 in the morning, and I slammed my toe into my dresser in my old house because he came out and it was like it's that thing of like it's getting late, you're kind of groggy, you're not paying 100% of it. You're just like, I'm just gonna get through this quest and go to bed. You're just running through the motions, and it was like full on cloaked invisibility. And I was like, what the fuck? Like you see some little shimmer thing, and then it just immediately pops up with like a massive sledgehammer thing, and yeah, that fucking. I think my foot was bleeding. I
Oh my
proper like
god.
full terminal velocity went fuck.
That is crazy, dude. Yeah, the first one that jumps to mind for me, I was a kid as well, very very young, and it has to be. I'll roll it on the screen for y'all right now. It's got to be the dogs, Resident Evil 1, jumping
Oh,
through
the
the
go through the
damn.
window.
Man, when I was
Damn.
that shit had me fucking spooked. Um, and it's really like this isn't gonna do it justice because the sound isn't there. But fucking a man, when you hear that sound, it is so damn. It's that fear is palpable on a different level than maybe anything I've ever experienced. Like there's different degrees, right? Where there's like psychological fear, there's jump scare fear. That's just pure 100% jump scare unstepped on. Like there is nothing about that is anything other than just the shock factor of holy shit, the glass just shattered and it's not Stone Cold walking out to the ring. It's these dogs trying to fucking kill me. So yeah, that those would definitely be up there. The hands breaking through the walls in Resident Evil 2, definitely up there. Um, I have some other ones that aren't necessarily moment related, like the babies in Dead Space 2. I think are just fucking horrifying. I don't know what it is about like children trying to kill you in a game, but like that shit is so scary to me. Let's see, I wrote down the ghost, the jump scare in Fear 1.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
I'll try to find that real quick. That shit's
See,
so scary.
that's also very slept on. Like there's two games from the 360 gen that don't get enough credit for like how unsettling the tone is when you're going through the game. Like it's so heavy going through Fear, like one. And the other one is Condemned.
Yeah,
I
the
don't know
mannequin.
if you played just most of the game though. Like most of the areas in that game are just unsettling to go through. Like they're just masterfully crafted. Um, but yeah, like I'm struggling because like horror games aren't really like they don't have that effect on me. Um,
Yeah. I'm trying to find the moment in Fear, like the direct moment that I'm talking about. It seems like nobody's clipped this out, which just seems. Do you know the moment I'm talking about? Where it's like, I think you're in that hallway or something, and she just like pops out. It's just like the flash of light. Am I losing?
oh, the in the hospital section.
Yes.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
That might be Fear 2.
Is it? Because no, I've only played Fear 1. There it is. Hold on. Well,
Okay.
let's see. I'll roll it real quick. Pop this up real quick for everybody.
Jump scare warning inbound.
And honestly, even as I'm watching this one, it is like there's definitely a part of me that's going, I don't know if this is the exact jump scare that I'm thinking about. Because you see the like she like the blood splats onto the screen, and then she kind of pops into the like the hallway of this hospital. Yeah, and then she jumps out at you. She crawls to you.
Mm.
But I think there's another one that is because like right here, he's walking in the pitch black dark, and yeah, because this is towards the end of the game. Anywho, yeah, fear has some moments that are in that realm, in that pantheon of like, it's not an overly scary game, but there
No.
are moments in Fear that's like, yeah, that's pretty fucking spooky.
No, it's got really good atmosphere, especially playing through. I don't know if you played it. Did you play it on the 360 or did you play it through backwards compatibility?
I played backwards compatibility.
Yeah, because I began. I think I played like half of it through the 360, and then they announced that backwards compatibility as I was like midway through the playthrough,
Oh
and then
wow.
transitioned to the thing and was like, wow, this is like night and day difference. That's crazy. Um, but yeah, like horror stuff like that, it doesn't usually have. that level of an effect on me. Something that like it's not horror related, but it's the thing of like, oh God, no, please. Like extra stage boss fights when it's been grueling difficulty.
Mm,
Um, Getting to the end and being like, okay, yeah, I did it. I have no healing left. I'm one hit from death, and then the body starts twitching again. It's like, oh, please, God, no, please.
yeah.
That affects me so much more than any jump scare can, because it's like, oh my God, please don't do this to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat with you where I've been playing horror games for so long that trying to think of stuff that has like scared me recently is tough. So it's like it's easy to go back and think about childhood kind of jump scares and shit, but like
Oh, Alan Wake 2. I'll give them credit. I don't know if you remember, very, very early in the game, that has a really intense jump scare sequence in that woods,
yeah.
and like I, I'll tip my hat to Remedy. I didn't think they had it in them because I don't think there was all that many jump scares in Alan Wake 1. It was more just doing what it was. Like you'd have like little chairs floating around. Because I remember it popping up when you're loading up the game, and it's like, do you want less? Do you want more like smoothed scenes of like it not assaulting you as aggressively? And I was like, no, man, give me the experience.
Yeah.
Going through that, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude. It's Alan Wake 2 is actually I think scarier, like quite a bit scarier than the first game. Would you
Mm.
agree with that? Yeah.
I wouldn't even like. It's the thing of like, I don't want to sound elite. I don't associate Alan Wake 1 as being a horror game.
Right.
It's more of like a thriller. It has a little bit of weird stuff going on. And like, yeah, it has like underlying tones of horror and stuff like that. But like Alan Wake 2 genuinely is. It has so many sections of like you constantly just feel like there's just intense situations going around every corner. Going, I mean, it's the woods. It's the wood sections that them making the game look so realistic, and the lighting is so perfectly done with all the
Hmm.
sound cues and stuff like that. Like they've really mastered that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's just something so unnerving about that game throughout like the entire runtime where it's like it's so weird and so batshit crazy that you're just never quite confident that what you're seeing is in any realm of real. But
Mm.
yeah. So shout out. Great question there. A lot. I think about like some shit from Max Payne, like the blood trail with the crying baby, but like once again,
Mm.
not jump scare inducing, just like horrifying, like this over these kind of underlying, just really spooky vibes. But we have some YouTube member questions to get after. Before we hop into the news. Captain Corndog writes in and says, dream guest in the gaming space you could interview on the Ramble Report. Could be a game director, company president, voice actor, someone else in games media, etc. So dream guest. I immediately think like I would like to get people once they're retired from whatever job they're working on. Because like if you look at Sean Layden's recent interviews, he's
The
so
guy's so unhinged at the moment. Like he's so going for the throat.
yes, and it's like that's an interesting interview. You know what I mean? Like it's fully fucking transparent. Um and I just don't know if you're going to get that with a lot of like the current executives while they're still working at those jobs. You know, like I think there's Phil Spencer's pretty decent about like I think he in a way.
We'll put the hypothetical then in that they have to whatever you're gonna ask them, they have to give like at least some form of an answer.
Oh, I mean Phil Spencer would definitely be up there then. I mean maybe number 1 for me. Just in terms of like I would
Because there's so
really
many questions that you'd want answered, like that just are so vague and just he sidesteps. Or just like, yeah, maybe. Or potentially.
yeah, and just that thing of like my biggest curiosity would just I would want to sit him down and do like a 2-hour deep dive in like pre-Activision, post-Activision and just get his full thoughts because so much of the messaging changed in that
Mm,
run up. Like, I would just really want to have an honest conversation of like, okay, when you said this and that changed, what was the thing that changed it? You know, like what were the decisions? Who was the person that made the final kind of executive call of like, no, we're no longer going in this direction, we're going in that direction. That would be
mm,
the where it's like, okay, we bought Bethesda for exclusive games. And what was the moment where that all went away? Like, what was the key determining factor there? But even, dude, I mean, fucking Herman Holst, I'd love to get a hold of his ass or Jim Ryan and be like, hey, you know, what happened? Whenever you whenever you went out and bought Bungie, or whenever you went out and bought what was it, Firewalk, or I think Firewalk was the Concord team, right? Firewalk is Concord,
I think
Fire
so.
Sprite is Horizon VR, if I'm not mistaken. But like, what were y'all thinking when you put Bluepoint on a God of War live service game? What were you thinking? Like, those are the questions I would like to ask, but I just know that the answers are not going to be satisfying until they're free from the shackles of that corporate environment.
Mm. Yeah. See, me, I think that's just yeah, because you're a lot more. You definitely want to know more on the business side. That's why you target CEOs. For me, I just that doesn't interest me as much. Like I'd love if you could like of all of them, of course, Phil Spencer nail his feet to the ground and be like, give me 100% straight answers. Physical support, this, this. Like there's plenty of questions you'd want answered. But for me, it would be like directors and stuff. Like I'd love to like especially ones where they've clashed and have been like for instance like Sakaguchi. I'd want to know so much about like okay like how much of like did Spirits Within really cost you like your job as much as people like claim it did and stuff like
Mm.
that, like how aggressively were you pushed out, like why is it taking you so long to kind of get back into the space as well, like they did their 360 pairing and then they kind of just went off the grid for a little bit and just made mobile games, which as a person of his pedigree and stuff like that is it just feels wasted. Like I don't want that to sound cruel and mean, but it just feels like, dude, you could have been like Kojima, but for JRPGs and just you know go here, like go pair up with Capcom, make them a thingy, go pair with this, go pair like it's just crazy to see so many years go by and not much happening. Um, yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, most of them are just Japanese developers and stuff because they're just batshit insane. A lot of them, like
Yeah,
having just played through Shadows of the Damned, just wanting like I just want to know what on earth goes on in Suda 5-1's head. Like I
yeah,
just like knock on the door and be like, "Is anyone home?" Sometimes, like you live in your own realm of reality that isn't real. It feels like sometimes in Yoko Taro and stuff like that. Like they're just so different to Western devs and stuff like that. Like I love Sven Vink and stuff like that, but I don't think I'd want to sit down and talk with them. Like it'd be like if the opportunity ever arose, obviously, yeah, but I wouldn't actively choose because it's like I can't. You're just an open book. I know what I'd expect as like answers from you. Like I'm sure you have like cool anecdotes and stuff like that. But yeah,
yeah. I, as far as like developers, I mean, I would love to, but once again, I start thinking about business things where I don't really know a lot of the questions I would ask about the games specifically. Like, I think that most of that information is stuff that they already put out there because it's a way of them to kind of flex. You know what I mean? Where it's like, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, how was that created? Well, we kind of know, like they've already publicly stated like the fucking grueling work and then like sleeping under desks and like all of that's out there. I would be curious to know more for sure. Like if I could conjure up some interesting questions that I think would make for like some information that's not already out there. But I want to like talk to John Johannes from Tango and be like, what happened? You put
mm,
out one of the most beloved games of 2023 and then the studio is shuttered and then sold off to Krafton, and like what's the working relationship like there with Krafton? What the fuck's going on there, cuz they got a lot of weird shit going on. crafting with like the Subnautica, I think the Subnautica team, and a bunch of drama. Like I haven't really looked into it all that much because anytime it gets overly personal, once again, just back to that point from the beginning of the show, I'm like, I don't know these people. I'm not really gonna just start throwing opinions out about people I don't
Yeah.
know. But like with John Johannes, I would love to just understand how, like, what the decision, how it was made, how it was conveyed, how it was like received by the team. Like, were y'all wanting to leave? Was this completely sprung upon you? Just stuff like that is Shinji Mikami as well. Obviously, you're gonna have to
Mm.
get a translator and stuff, but like there's a lot of things I'm curious about on the business end more so than the Sam Lake. I would love to sit down with and be like, okay, well, when you're working on Quantum Break and you're working on Alan Wake 1 exclusively, and then when that went sideways, or how did you get the license back to Alan? Well, like things like that, I'm the
Yeah.
most curious about.
Yeah. And what is his name? The Hideki, is it Hideki Kamiya? Platinum?
Yeah, that'd be a really good one.
I want to know what the hell happened to Scalebound, man, because there is a lot of like, again, there's no definitive set in stone. People have their opinions and stuff or rumors and stuff, but like, the hell happened? Like that, it felt like things were going fine, and then it just vanished.
Yeah.
And there's rumors, obviously, budgets being sucked from here, put in here, kind of similar to the Randy Pitchford thing with was it Colonial Marines budget being siphoned into Borderlands 2 and stuff like that. Like, yeah, they're the type of like deep stories I like getting my teeth into. Because like, how do you get away with that?
Yeah.
If that's like genuine, like it's always like you're never gonna know 100%. But like, if there's truth to that, like surely there has to be some repercussion. That's crazy to sabotage a development of something to benefit another. Like that, yeah. I don't know that there's probably some legal jargon for it. It
Yeah.
has to be illegal in some manner.
Kamiya, he seems, or Kamiya, however you pronounce it, he seems like very, very willing to speak openly, even right now. Like, even while he was employed, he kind of lets shit fly off the chest. And that's the type of, like a David Jaffe type dude. Those type of personalities, fuck yeah. Let's sit down, let's talk. Because they actually have genuine discussions like a human being, opposed to like, well, we can't talk about this because of PR. Like, we can't talk, like, you know what I'm saying? So people like that, fuck yeah, absolutely. But people like in the media, I would love to have a sit down with Ben Hansen from MinMax and just have like a full kind of discussion about their game of the year process. I think it's the best show. Like I've told you about this 100 times, but I literally look forward to this event. Like I think about it as an event every single year. I look forward to this piece of content, their game of the year discussion, more than I look forward to any like game awards, more than I look forward to Summer Game Fest, more than I just love this process. And I know that that would be probably a boring ass interview because I would just literally want to sit down and get into the most granular detail about that process of like how did that come to be. And I just think that that is such a, and obviously they took some inspiration from Giant Bomb with their setup, but with I don't know, there's certain things about MinMax's specific structuring of like the 210 format and having so many people volleying out games and you know even just like regrets. Like I would like to pull up a list of all their previous game of the year winners or top 10 lists and be like, which of these do you regret the most?
Ooh, that's an interesting topic.
Yeah, because each
Put that in the
person,
bank.
right? Yeah, because like each person on their team, I'm sure would have something that they're like, this is the fucking year that sucked the most. And because like last year, for instance, Ben Hansen, like, one of his favorite games of all time is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I don't think that even cracked their top 10. And he's like one of the 9 people discussing it. It's like that doesn't seem fair. It's one of his favorite games ever, and it doesn't crack y'all's top 10. And I would love to be like, how does that really make you feel? How kind of getting this sort of dogpiling effect from the other 8 members and one of your favorite games ever slipping out of the top 10. Like that seems kind
What
of fucking
was
crazy.
is that top 10 of all time though? So were they
No.
arguing titles of? just from that year,
just
or
from 2024.
oh, okay. I was gonna say because if it's all years, it's like okay, I can kind of get why that would get pushed out. Because it'd be like me, like I do genuinely feel, for instance, like Expedition being like one of the greatest games for me ever, but it'd be very hard to argue if he was on like a panel with other people who are like, yeah, Metal Gear Solid 1, because that has had
Right.
decades of lasting, influence and stuff like that. Whereas, it's still very, very fresh. That does feel bad. That didn't even get
Yeah, right.
that didn't even get mentioning. Feels bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that that was kind of. I thought that that was wild, but at the same time, that's why I tune in, right? Is because
Mm.
like something that I was going into it, following their content throughout the year, I was thinking, well, that's probably number 3, number 4. That's going to be super high up on their list. But when it's not, it's like so much more compelling to me. You'll see people like actually get mad in the comment section, like, why the fuck isn't this fucking, you fucking, like, just going crazy. It's like, to me, I don't give a fuck about that at all. I don't care what's in what place. I just find it so fascinating to watch the kind of pieces move around in the puzzle. I am addicted to that shit. I look forward to it so much every year. So just having a full conversation about that one very specific thing that happens once a year, I know that that might not necessarily set the world on fire for viewership, but I would love to have that conversation.
Yeah, and I think we've given one each. So that was a content creator
Yeah.
esque. Just Yahtzee, man. I want to like if TB was still alive, I'd probably go with him because he had some shit figured out way before anybody else. Like he had that just magic that I don't think anybody's even captured since, to be honest. Like he was not only like a reviewer and stuff like that, like he genuinely had a voice that he was able to project to developers because he rattled some devs that did crappy practices. It
Yeah.
was like one of the first things where it was like, oh, we do have a voice as a consumer, and he'll happily direct it when it is needing to be directed. But yeah, obviously sadly he passed away. So yeah, just Yahtzee, just wanting to know like what made you just one day load up like paint and just do that? Like because there was nobody else do it. It's the different thing of like you have even now people like popping up and doing review chats or essays and stuff. No one's done that since or before.
Mm,
Like I can't unless you can think of somebody like what he does with the animations. Like it's just one of a kind,
it is.
um, which is ingenious. Sets you apart immediately. Also keeping them extremely short. Just an incredible. That's what I'm looking for. Consistency. In his really like every single week. For how many years? He's been doing it since 2007.
Yeah, decades.
Every single week without fail. That's that's crazy to me, man. That's genuinely crazy. He's almost been doing it 20 years. Baffling.
Yeah, no doubt. Dad, that would be I, I think about like a fucking Keeley as well. Keeley would be
Mm.
a fun get because so I'm pulling up for the viewers the interview with David Jaffe and Keeley, and like I remember watching this when it aired, and this is the type of shit where once again David Jaffe is so unbelievably unhinged to like a scary level of just like he will say whatever is in his fucking whatever comes to his mind, he will say it. And when you get someone like Keeley who is a master of PR and a master of the spin zone of getting out of that shit, that was one of the most hilarious fucking interviews because Jaffe's
Clash
saying,
of Titans. Yeah.
yeah. And Keeley's just avoiding it and like putting the spotlight back on. It was a fucking hilarious interview. But I don't even necessarily, I don't really have any kind of hard hitting questions for Keeley. I would just be curious of like, what games did you almost get at the Game Awards that were pulled
Mm.
last minute, or games that you knew about that were supposed to release or were supposed to get announced that ended up getting canceled. Like I'm sure he knows about the dopest damn Knights of the Old Republic 3, or some just crazy shit like that that was on the precipice of being revealed, but then they just EA canceled it or Ubisoft canceled it or whatever, different variation of that. Yeah, I bet he has some scoops that would be, if you could just totally inject a truth serum into these people, I'd love to get some of those scoops out of Keeley.
Mm, absolutely.
All right. So next up on the YouTube member docket for the questions, I have Xman77B saying, knowing you value open world sandbox games, have you played Ghost Recon Wildlands? I'm strictly referring to campaign mode, either single player or co-op. What did you think of the map slash world? Are you comfortable making comparison of Ghost Recon Wildlands versus Just Cause 3 and 4? Take care. Then, um, have you played this game, Loon?
100% of it.
Oh, did you? Well, hey,
Mm.
I will let you take it away because I actually have not touched the game. I honestly didn't even know it had a single player component.
Did you not?
I've never played the series.
Oh, damn. Man, you're missing out. Maybe. I don't. Yeah. It depends. Like, it's just a massive map where it's you can obviously go in loud, but I obviously chose to go in stealthy and stuff. Um, Comparing it to Just Cause is interesting because it is you can like shit does get off the rails at times, but it's all dependent on your playstyle. It's it's heavily slept on. I will say that. I don't think like people didn't really give it all that much of a chance. And on top of that, it seems like one of them scenarios where Wildlands came out, people kind of entered it in towards the tail end of its life cycle with like the Predator event and stuff like that. So when it was all chock full of content, and then they entered in Breakpoint because of that, and Breakpoint was dreadful, really dreadful. Um, but yes, it's a great game. I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and it looks pretty fucking sick. I always thought that these games were like just more multiplayer centric than single player. I didn't really know they had like major single player components to them. So,
Yeah, it's got a full. With Wildlands, you're taking down. You're being inserted into Bolivia, and you're trying to stabilize the cartel, basically. So
nice.
your premise of your plot is you had some undercover agent go there to try to do that, and then he's gone missing. So you're basically tasked with trying to find out what happened to him, and then also dealing with I think his name was El Sueño, which is like the big baddie, big fucking hulking brute of a man. And it is just the classic Ubisoft thing. You have your lieutenants, captains. It's just checkbox stuff. But the actual map was really fun to explore, much more so than Breakpoint for me. Breakpoint, I don't know how to like because they are kind of similar in its approach, but just didn't feel fun to explore.
So you say that there are like some similar comparisons to Just Cause?
I mean, there can be some crazy shit going on, helicopters, explosions, massive set pieces of, inserting into bases and stuff like that. It's more so, Just Cause is definitely more arcadey, of course, with its crazy wackiness of shit and tools that it gives at your disposal. That there is, you can get a little bit wacky with Wildlands, but it is more so like modern futuristic, keeping its feet slightly based in reality. Whereas obviously Just Cause you have a wingsuit, you can fly around, do crazy shit, fucking tornado guns and stuff like that, whatever it is that they have going on in that series.
Yeah, I'll have to check it. I just literally had no idea whatsoever that this was like that they had predominant single player modes that were actually fleshed out and shit. So I'll have
Mm.
to scoop that up. I'm always down to look into another big open world sandbox that I can go around and destroy shit inside of. So fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, it'll probably be fairly cheap by now, I would imagine. Um, yeah, just it's the type of thing of like it's a solid Ubisoft open world. Whereas I'd say skip Breakpoint. But yes, fully single player. You have a squad of free AI teammates, so you can actually call in. They can be replaced by human players, but if there's nobody in your lobby and stuff like that, then it is just AI, and they do a fine enough job tagging like what you did in Splinter Cell, where you had the tag thing.
Right.
Instead of you launching them shots, it's you're lining up the shots for your teammates, and then you will aim at somebody, and when you fire, they will fire. Kind of thing. It's seamless.
Got you.
Yeah, really
Sh-
fun game.
Shit, yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to pick up a copy of it. Like you said, I'm sure you can get it for probably fucking 10, $15, something like that. So I will have to do that. The next question that we have on the docket here is coming from Z Guy 115, says, I don't know if you guys have answered this already, but what's your most heartbreaking game cancellation? So, most heartbreaking game cancellation, the first thing that is always going to come to mind for me is Star Wars 1313. Um, just the fact that we saw, like, I'll go ahead and skip ahead to the gameplay here. We saw like a good chunk of this game actually running, and it seemed like Star Wars Uncharted. And I understand that Ubisoft tried tackling that with Star Wars Outlaws, but I know the writing would have been much better with 1313. I think the gameplay probably would have been stronger just from the little bit of gameplay that we saw. And yeah, I was so damn hyped for this. I have plenty on my list that would kind of be up there, but I don't know, man. When you look at this thing, it's like this is kind of one of those dream Star Wars projects for me. And I remember hearing an interview. It was Visceral, right? Or I think it was Visceral, if I'm not mistaken, who was working on this at EA. And
Yeah, I believe so. With Amy Hennig, right?
yep, Amy Hennig was leading up the writing for the narrative, and it to me, like, I remember hearing an interview, and I don't know if they said it directly, but I was under the impression that people who were working on that game thought it was like definitively gonna shape up to be the greatest Star Wars game ever made. Like they were really, really proud of what they were doing and the set piece design and just the scale and kind of fun ass gameplay that they were creating in the solid ass writing. So the fact that we never got to see this thing launch, and due to no fault of the developer. Like this was just straight up an EA in that era where they canceled everything that wasn't live service, and this was one of the games. And apparently, like this thing was making really good progress, and it just didn't see the light of day, man. It's fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, the one that springs because obviously you took 1313, which is always gonna like top most people's list. Dude, the Prey game
Yeah,
when they had that bounty hunter trailer thing, and it was just like I don't like. Of course, that was like all cinematics. It told you nothing really. You don't know what the game's gonna play like, but like the setting and the tone of the game looks really damn interesting. Because we just again we still to this day we don't have a bounty hunter game kind of thing. Like
right.
why have we still not had this figured out? Like you have I guess the bones of it that could be transitioned into something with like Watch Dogs Legion, where you have everybody who's interactable on a map, technically, to some degree. Like where's surely like we're a lot closer to having that be actually achievable, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, dude, I do you think that Blade game is going to come out from
The
Arcane?
Blade game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Um I would assume so. Because and the reason I say that is because you look over the fence at say Spider-Man, it's got that Marvel tag to it. So you know it's going to sell with a Marvel tag. I don't think it would be wise to have it be an exclusive. Just send that everywhere day one.
Yeah.
That'd be very, very stupid to tie that down. So
Yeah. I because I do wonder, we saw that game that's kind of in that same space as you know, that's somewhat in that same space of like a Wolverine, in my opinion, where it's like, how long ago was that thing announced? It's been a fucking minute. And both studios with Arcane, with Insomniac, you kind of believe that they're talented as fuck. Like they're gonna theoretically they should be able to get those games out the door, but I don't know. It's been a long ass time, man. I don't know. You bringing up Prey just had me started kind of getting my wheels spinning about, because I think that game, that Blade game, should be fucking excellent.
Mm.
You would think, like a third person immersive sim from Arcane. It's, I think it should be great, dude.
Yeah, I wouldn't see why it would. I think it could easily rival Spider-Man. Not so much in name. Obviously, Spider-Man's a lot more of a dominant name, but for like gamers, there'd be a lot more gamers that would probably want to interact with that. Um, than I'd assume Spider-Man. It's kind of crazy because I was like, oh, I'll go like look up on like Wikipedia and be like, wonder how many like games have been actually cancelled. Dude, 108 Xbox 360 games got cancelled.
Yeah, that were
Only
known.
eight. Yeah, that obviously, yeah, of course, that's that caveat. Only eight Series X games have been cancelled, and yet people are having meltdowns.
Mm, yeah, I mean, I once again, stuff is like, about the layoffs and all that shit tied to it as well. Where it's like games weren't officially announced yet, but that the game was in the works and was canceled. But just because it
I'm just
wasn't,
drawing the comparison of like people saying that so many things get cancelled nowadays. When you look at 360 with 108 and Xbox One with 40,
yeah,
and we're how many years into the Series X and PS5 generation, and they haven't broken 10 yet that have been officially announced and then canned. Unlike that,
dude.
kind of an eye opener.
Speaking of that, I don't know if you remember this 8 Days game that was announced. It was supposed to be a PlayStation 3 exclusive, like an open world crime sandbox game with like cover shooting Uncharted esque elements. I remember seeing this a long time ago at E3, and it just looks like a big ass. Oh, I want to show you like the chase scene section that's about to appear here in a second, but it just looks like this big ass blockbuster, Michael Bay action movie, and I really wanted to fucking play this thing, but it never came out. And
Oh, I
kind of,
remember this. Yeah. So it
yeah,
says the game is to be set over the course of 8 days, set in eight different states, which would have been the largest map game of all time at that time. The game would have also included a real life clock, so that you're going through these in real time. That's crazy ambitious.
and you know who this was? Fucking Sony London, who just got canceled because PlayStation put them on a live service game. Their studio got shut down. Um, and listen, like this game never shipped, so uh, I'm not necessarily giving them credit for releasing this thing. But when you see this, it's like, fuck, dude, they were onto something. But hey, you got to get it across the finish line. And I mean, they did the getaway games and stuff. Like, so they had expertise in this field. It's just, once again, kind of going back to that question of like, man, if I could sit down with Herman Host and be like, what the fuck were y'all thinking, man? Why in the hell did you not immediately greenlight, a smaller scaled version of this, of 8 Days? And have them working on that opposed to a live service fantasy game and wherever the fuck it was set. And I don't know, dude.
Yeah, of course. Silent Hills as well. Forgot about that.
Definitely.
That's definitely up there.
Definitely. Yeah, because they have like 13 minutes of footage on this game. That's just astonishing to me. And then, Agent would be very, very high on
Yeah.
that list for me. Rockstar's Agent, getting to play as like a detective, a murder mystery thriller, however they were going to roll that out, developed by Rockstar. I'd be so down for that. But yeah.
So a question to pick at that, like further, is because it's kind of in relation to this. We were up in the air whether or not Masquerade Bloodlines 2 was ever going to see the light of day. That had a turbulent development process. It's locked in. Like I think Co Carnage has already started playing the game. Like it's coming out.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's good and stuff like that will obviously be remain to see. Would you prefer them to just push a game out, even if it's just kind of like a Redfall, for instance? Even if it comes out and it's just like, man, that's just a bad game. Would you rather just it come out rather than them can the project and move on to something else?
Definitely.
You'd
Yeah, I
rather
mean,
just see the vision through.
for sure. Yeah, because I mean, well, I mean, if the okay, well, here's my thinking.
As long as it doesn't sink them, is the caveat.
Right. Yeah. And my thinking is like if you're a year away from release, then go ahead and finish it. Like at that point, what the fuck? You wasted 6 years to get there. Go ahead and put another year into it and get it out and see what happens. But say a situation where a developer is 1 year, 2 years into the process of making the game, and they're at the point where it's like, this is not coming together. We're going to have to make a decision right now either to A, cancel this and move to something else, or B, stick with it for the chance that we might get a 6 out of 10. Because, like, right now it's in a 3, 4 out of 10 range, and we just need to get it to a 6 out of 10 and ship it. Like, in that point, yeah, you know, cancel the fucking thing and cut your losses because you haven't spent so much time on it. But if you've spent 5 years and you're on the final stretch, like, yeah, just get it out.
No.
What do you think?
I mean, it's obviously a case by case base. It depends, obviously, how much budget they've put into it as well. Because you can get tax write-offs. It's why, like, even when something is in deep-ish development and stuff like that, maybe not seeing it through is also fairly wise, because then you don't have to print the discs, you don't have to distribute it, manufacture, and then have people then be like, man, this sucks, I want a refund, and then that sucks money out. But yeah, as long as it's like functional, just kick it out. Like what I'm thinking of is, oh, what was the game? Like obviously Redfall was the example. Godfall, I think is the other
Right.
one, where it's just
Yeah.
like, look, that's nothing special. But like if someone wants to play it, they can.
Yeah.
And like it exists. So like keep it. Um so yeah. And again, like as the thing that spurned that was like a thought. I don't even care if Wildlands 2 ends up sucking. I just want it out at this point. I just want like it gets to a point where I'm sick of hearing about it, even though I'm excited about it. Like, just put it out. If it's bad, you also it also feels like sometimes they don't remember that they're in a time period where you can put out a product and then make sweeping changes after the fact with feedback. Like, just put it out. If it sucks, you can always do an overhaul. So yeah. I
Yeah.
think for most scenarios, getting it just out into people's hands is good enough.
I would agree with that, man. But yeah, I appreciate the question. It's there's so many that you could go through. You know, I would throw in there Knights of the Old Republic remake, even though we don't officially know. I think we pretty officially know that that game's never coming out, unfortunately.
Rainbow Six Patriots. Forgot
Mm.
about that. I don't know if you remember seeing any of that. Um, that the bridge scene, I believe, is what they showed in the trailer. Man, they really need to bring back Rainbow Six. That isn't a live service shooter.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I
Especially playing through Ready or Not, I'm like, oh my god, this can work.
oh, is it good?
It's like a 9 out of 10
Holy shit! And you're playing
for
just
what it
single player?
for what it is what I should say. Like it has its own little, like when you're comparing it to like say a Last of It, it's not going to be as polished. It's a lot more slow, tactical, and methodical. But yeah, full single player.
So you're playing
You're
it
com
just single player, and it's still a 9 out
Yep,
of 10. Oh,
yep.
dude, I gotta buy that thing
Because
then.
you have your squad that you deploy with you, and you're issuing them orders and stuff like that.
Oh, Freedom Fighters
So
vibes.
yeah, so you're like stack up on the door, mirror under the door, checking for traps
No
and people.
shit.
Yeah, and then you have like 50 like million different ways of breaching a door. Bashing it, kicking it, blowing it up, stuff like that. It's really fun. About
Dang.
halfway through the campaign, and the thing is as well, these games are so intense in their scenarios. They've also balanced making sure that most of the successful runs that you do are like 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, because it is so intense pushing through a building and stuff like that. Because if you try and play this like a Call of Duty game, you're going to die very, very quick. Like 2 bullets and you're dead. Like you're having to take your time. You're having to listen to the scenario and the environment around you, making sure that you can't just open a door, you'll get shot. You open a door, it might be rigged with an explosive. There might be a hostage on the other side. Like there's so many different things. But yeah,
Damn.
very, very much enjoying it.
And it's got a physical release as well, so I'm gonna have to scoop that up. Um,
Does it
damn,
come out?
I think right or
Because
maybe
I remember Dan saying that he was. I think he ordered. It might be Xbox. Might be falling behind with the physical. I don't think his physical has been sent yet.
let's see. Well, while I'm here, I guess I might as well go ahead and buy this fucker if it's available. Oh yeah, no release date for it yet. Got it.
Yeah.
That's so funny. It says day one edition with no release date.
Oh, the irony.
Oh wait, here it is. Here it is. September 26th.
So a month.
Yeah,
Oh.
fuck it. I might as well buy this thing. I'll buy it whenever. I don't want to sit here on my phone while we do the podcast, even though I do everything on the fucking phone while we do the podcast. I got all of literally, so if anybody's ever wondering, I'm not scrolling and fucking texting and shit. I have literally all of the podcast notes and shit for our Google Doc, all just sitting here on the phone. It's, I don't, like, you could do all this on the computer. Like, you can have all of these things just sitting in little things on the computer, and it's all nice.
To be fair, it's the same. It's the same end goal though, because all you'd be doing is looking at a monitor instead of a. So it'd be different if everyone saw you doing this.
Right.
Then it's like,
Yeah,
hmm.
it is but it's just like it's probably easier to do it on the computer. But I have such an aversion to any kind of, like, I want to do everything on this fucking phone. I don't like doing anything through the computer. But speaking of computers and speaking of espionage, I don't.
Interesting how you're gonna link this background, wherever this is going.
Well, how about we talk about Metal Gear Solid 3? Because
Okay.
that game is coming out fairly soon, and the reviews just dropped for it. It's doing really well, but kind of the more interesting point here than anything is that Naraki Okamuro. Anywho, the producers on Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater said they would consider lots of other games in the future if this title is successful. So it's looking like the future of the Metal Gear Solid series is very much dependent upon the old Snake Eater remake. Loon,
Mm.
what you think about this? We've talked about it before. We know that people are very split on the idea of returning to Metal Gear Solid without Kojima. I assume this more so means a remake of 1, a remake of 2,
I
a
was about
remake
to
of
say
4.
how. What was like the phrasing there? Because that was very open for interpret. That sounded like to me when you read it in the way that you read that was if this remake is successful, we'll remake 2,
Yeah.
and then we'll remake 1. Because obviously it would be a lot easier to remake 2 with it being more modern, and the same thing with like Metal Gear Solid 1. Like once you've done 2, then it wouldn't be so bad to do that.
Okay.
Because it's what you're seeing with what is it, Resident Evil and stuff like that. They're going out of their way to just, yeah, we'll do this one, this one, this one. We don't want to touch 1 because it's the hardest to get feeling good. Maybe like it's such a small environment. Can you really convince somebody like of a full scale remake? Because if people complained about Resident Evil 3 being short, and that gives you like the free run of like a city, basically, for the most part. Can you really convince people to have a mansion? Can you expand that out more?
Well, and so to elaborate a little bit further, they said we are always thinking about what we could do for the Metal Gear series, but in regards to remaking future titles, currently we're just focusing on the now, and we thought what would be the best way to reach both the old fans and potentially new fans as well. So, yeah, it is definitely much more in regards to the remake, but I I think it's crazy that Metal Gear Solid 1 isn't being remade. I think that game Like, you can absolutely still do a lot of that weird shit that they're doing with unplug the controller port, or do a dance on your tippy toes, like all the weird shit that they were doing in Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PS1. You can do a lot of that shit through cloud technology. You can do a lot of that. There's a lot of interesting ways that you can fuck with the player. Still today, that is data based, and is like, you'd have to probably sign an agreement for them to be able to track your information and all of that annoying ass shit. Maybe if you don't sign it, you don't get the special moment where it's like, oh, I see that you like, where Psycho Mantis is like, I see that you like, what's another Konami game? Deliver at all costs. You're a fucking.
Oh, that would be wild.
Because I guess that would be the only thing. Like, I see that you like.
There is a voice line though, isn't there? In the original, where if it reads the card and there aren't any Konami stuff, it does take that into account, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think it shouts out any other game though. I think it's only if you have like Castlevania, Suikoden, Silent Hill.
It's only Konami related stuff. And then if you don't have any more, I think it's just like, oh, you don't like anything, kind of along them lines. So they just have to default to that, or you go into the everyone's favorite realm at the moment, AI, and just have it, be like you said, agree, scan the account, and then it can voice recognize, like, you like Kingdom Come Deliverance too.
You need to go take
Henry's
a bath.
Hungry. But yeah, it's. I'm assuming it's going to do really well. I'd be very surprised if Freeze remake comes out and it doesn't sell shitloads of copies. So I think the series is going to be existing in some state, whether or not that's with remakes or new entries. But like we've touched on it before, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for people to accept anybody picking up the torch and then continuing the IP more so than just remaking it.
Yeah,
like gamers are very fickle, you know. They're very, very tied to Kojima's DNA in that series, and with him no longer being a part of it, whatever they put out post him, even if it could surpass it, and people would still hate upon it. No, it's just the natural order of things.
it would be cool if they brought him in as like an overseer role. You know, not really doing anything, but just kind of taking a look at it, just so they could associate the game with him, so that people wouldn't freak the fuck out and at least be open to the possibility that a new one could be good.
That would never happen.
Yeah.
There's 0% chance in happening. I don't want to sound disrespectful. They're very, very different run companies in Japan and stuff like that. Like when you have a full, you don't go back. That's just it. You've cut your tires, you leave. They're very, very prideful. Kojima will never probably touch anything Konami related ever again in his life.
But you look at like Kamiya going back to Capcom for the Okami, to, you know, make a new Okami game, and it's like, obviously the falling out wasn't as severe.
Yeah,
or
I was about to
anything
say
like that.
it's different. There's obviously people that when they go back, but when you're forced out of the company in that manner, kind of way, you don't. That's just, yeah,
Totally.
that doesn't happen.
But I do look at it as like, in terms of that situation where Kamiya, his new studio, they're going to be making Okami for Capcom. And it's like, I don't know, there's interesting scenarios like that, but I don't, yeah, Kojima left on very, very, very bad terms. But it's looking like right now another kind of big beat news information wise regarding Metal Gear Solid 3 the remake is that it's performing worse on PS5 Pro than it's performing on the base PS5, which is like
That's back to back, right?
with
Silent Hill 2 did
Yep.
the same thing. Konami. Hey man, I've said it. You know, it's just buying the hardware doesn't automatically mean that it's going to get better. It still needs to be optimized by the team. If it's not optimized and isn't utilized properly, it doesn't matter. You can have, it's bottlenecking,
right.
basically.
And it's like, if 2 million people have bought this fucking thing,
You're not going to prioritize it.
no.
It's the same thing with like why Xbox games in the past have run worse when you port them, because it's like they're not going to prioritize the smaller player base. They will happily take the little bit of shit that people are going to be throwing at them online by that small minority and just make that bigger. It's just the natural order of things again.
It's so baffling. Like I was, I remember hearing people be like, "Well, Grand Theft Auto 6 will be 60 frames per second on PS5 Pro, and it won't be on PS5." I'm like, "I'll bet you the fucking mortgage. I will bet you my house that there's no fucking world where GTA 6 is going to run at 60 on PS5 Pro if it's not running at 60 on base PS5. There's no world. Rockstar, they're not even releasing it on PC. They're not about to prioritize 2 million players.
People can dream. People can dream. It's the thing. It's the justification for owning it as well. They don't want it to
Right.
feel like a wasted purchase and stuff like that. And it's yeah. I don't. As long as it plays, that's all that really matters and stuff like that. Just be happy.
Yeah.
Because like I would be like Starfield, for instance. That was like what locked at 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that releases on PS5 and is at like 30 and Pro and it still runs at 30, I don't think anyone's going to complain. You just play it. There'll be people that stir that up for the process of stirring it up, but like the majority of people play it fine. I think Red Dead 2 is still at 30, right?
Yeah, it's still at 30.
No one's bitching about that. People claim that as a masterpiece. It's just like, yeah. Third person games as well, like they don't
No.
need 60. It's nice when they get 60. Smooth is better. But they don't suffer nearly as much as when you're in first person and you just want it as smooth as possible because it's a much more constricted space. So
I don't mind 30, man. Like I get it. I understand first person competitive shooters for sure, but like in the single player space, 30's fine with me. I'm not typically bitching about it. I do think, of course, whenever like console manufacturers have on their box 8K 120 frames per second and then their first party games can't hit 30, it's like that's a problem. But those instances are few and far between. So yeah, but how about we talk? Actually, I'm gonna pause real quick, take a piss, and then we'll talk about some Bungie.
cool.
Sound good? Cool.